Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be running through the software for the Razer BlackWidow V4 Pro keyboard. This thing has a lot of customization settings and I want to show you how they work on a more in-depth dedicated software video. So let's jump straight into it. So once you actually install the Razer Synapse software and get the keyboard running, this is going to be the menu that you're greeted with. And this keyboard is extremely customizable. Everything can be customized from the top keys, the bottom keys, the media control buttons, the volume button, as well as the keys on the side of the keyboard. So the default functionality for this is going to be pretty good out of the box. So unless you need something super custom, then I really wouldn't change the settings too much. However, something you probably will be changing often is going to be the side macro keys, which are disabled by default, and you can make them do whatever you want. So we'll start off with this macro 1 key, and if I click it, you can see all of the functionality. So right now I have it on disabled, which is right here. If you actually want to do something to it, you can go ahead and do keyboard function, and you can say key recording, and basically what that does is you can say something like the letter A, and then Shift Alt A is going to be what happens when I press the macro 1 key. And if I do enable turbo mode just basically tells you how much times to actually press the keyboard. So if I press macro 1 and the number 7, it's going to do Shift Alt A 7 times. Now there's other things you can do like alphanumeric, and this is going to be the same thing essentially, except it's the alphabet along with the numbers. Then you can also include modifiers, which lets you make this a combo key where it's like Shift plus A or Control plus A, whatever you want it to do. And you do that by clicking Shift, and then if you just want these things to work, it'll act as if you're pressing Shift, Control plus Alt, and then A. And then there's also turbo mode for there. And all of these functions have different modes like function keys. They have different number pad keys you can use, navigation keys such as space, up, down, home, modifier keys, and symbols. And then all of these keys also have the modifiers along with turbo mode. I'm going to go ahead into mouse function, and this is essentially the same thing, but instead of the keyboard shortcuts, these are going to be like your mouse clicks, like left click, right click. There's also turbo mode here. Enter device is basically when you have two devices working alongside one another. So if you have a Razer mouse and a Razer keyboard, so an example of this would be you hold Shift on your keyboard and click on your mouse, and that's going to be connecting the two different devices to create one shortcut that you normally can't do. Switch profile is going to be pretty straightforward. You just can toggle between your profiles, and in order to create a new profile, you just go ahead and click these 3 dots here, click add a profile. Now I have 2 profiles over here, and if I click on the modifier key, go to switch profile, and now you can see I can click next profile, previous profile, cycle up, cycle down, or you can select a specific profile when the macro M1 key is pressed. Now switch lighting effect is going to allow you to switch to a different profile, which we'll go over in a moment here. Now the brightness is going to be for your device brightness. Like, you can go ahead and toggle the settings up or down. And then Razer Hypershift is going to be Hypershift mode. I'm not going to go too in depth on that in this video, but basically you're allowed to convert your keyboard to have multiple functionality instead of just your traditional one. And you can see the description right here. It just says that you enjoy a new set of hotkeys. Basically, if you really need like way more shortcut keys, then Hypershift mode is going to be good for you. I would say most people don't really need this. It's more like MMO gamers who have a lot of advanced customization settings. Launch program, this is going to be straightforward. You can launch a specific app by clicking on the folder, and then you just navigate to whatever app you want to open. And then launch website, you just type in the URL there, and then it's going to open the website when you press the M1 key. Multimedia keys is going to allow you to assign any multimedia keys to a macro or any command on your keyboard. And then Windows shortcuts is going to be the same thing as well. You're just going to have your traditional media keys like copy, paste, cut, switch apps, refresh, etc., etc. Those more like utilitarian type tasks. And then text function is going to be great. You can go ahead and type some sort of text in, and then whatever you type in, you can press the key, and then it's going to spit out that text every time. And then if we scroll down, you can see there's going to be things like gaming mode. Basically, this is going to disable your Windows keys. There's also going to be enable in-game only, so that way this only works in-game, not just on your regular when you're browsing the browser in productivity mode. Then you're also going to have disable Alt plus Tab and Alt F4 as well. These are shortcuts that you really don't want to click while you're in the middle of the game. Then you're going to have the polling rate of your keyboard, and basically this is going to allow you to have a higher frequency rate. The higher the faster, but it's going to consume a lot more power on your computer. So I think keeping at 1000 is fine. If you do notice some lag, just keep bumping it up until you think it's fine. And then the command dial is going to be this button up here, and every time you press it, it switches between different modes. The green light adjusts the brightness when you twist the knob. The red one does Windows zoom in and out, so you can zoom in and out of applications or creative apps like Adobe Photoshop, Figma, whatever you use. Blue light is going to mean you can switch between applications when rotating the dial. Track jogging is going to allow for you to skip around between tracks. Track selector is how you can navigate like kind of a media control, next, previous. Vertical scrolling is going to be as it sounds, it scrolls vertically, and then same with horizontal. So it's going to act similar to a regular mouse wheel scroll, and then horizontal is going to be pretty much the same thing, but instead of from top to bottom, you're going to go from left to right scrolling, and that's going to be the white light. And then for the orange light, you're going to have the switch browser tab. So when you're in like a browser and you have the orange light on and you rotate the knob, it's going to switch around between your tabs. So this is a lot of functionality. If you are like a shortcut person, this is going to be definitely very useful for you. Now quickly hopping into the lighting settings, you can see that there are going to be a few different settings. So here I can go ahead and tone the brightness down. Then you're going to have some presets here like ambient awareness. Then there's going to be audio metering, and basically if you have music playing, your keyboard's going to react to the audio. Then you have things like breathing, so you can pulse between one color like from green to blue, for example. And then my keyboard is going to be pulsing from green, as you can see, and then over to blue. And there's a lot of different settings here that you have that are preset, and if you want to do something more advanced, you can go ahead and install the Chroma Studio software and really get customized with your lighting effects. However, I found that these preset ones were pretty good. Like if you want to use Alexa or something like that, you would have to install the Chrome Studio app. And then you have some settings here on when the lights get turned off, and then if you're idle for X amount of minutes, they'll also turn off as well. So that pretty much summarizes the software. This keyboard has a lot of functionality, a lot of customization settings, and if you can utilize this, then this is going to be an awesome keyboard for you. If you want to see my dedicated review video on this keyboard where I cover the hardware and whatnot, then that video is going to be linked right up here. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.